Sideline of ball. Lakewood are doing it. They're gonna take. He's gonna bring down Bernie. Almost with a double kill. Dropping fast. Final points there. He's still alive. Wait, oh, second slide. He's got one slide. He's got a second. He's taking it. Oh my God! On three. They're all dead.
Welcome everybody to the Summit 2 by G2A.com. We're in the Southeast Asia Division here, something like day 10. I'm just throwing out numbers, hoping for the best, see where I land. I think I rolled a 7 there, that's pretty good. I think we're pretty close to day 10 at least, as we've seen a fair bit of action. The last few nights has just been like one game scattered lightly here or there, so no big days. That's coming up next week when the teams return from Taiwan from the LAN tournament there. Go Australia. Team Immunity doing some kick-ass job there. But right now in the Summit 2 SEA division, we've got MVP Phoenix up against Execration. MVP Phoenix, the third place team at the moment, sitting right behind the Aussies who are in second and can't say whips. And Team Malaysia, first place, 11-0. Nobody is catching them at this rate. These guys are just, well, on just a level above every other one else in the SEA division, it feels like. Although, I have to see what happens when we get to the playoffs, once teams are more practiced, more prepared, and can kind of come up with some maybe strategies for dealing with the way Team Malaysia have been playing. Although, with that said, Malaysia have been playing all kinds of strats. It doesn't feel like they've got one playstyle that they just go to time and time again. They've been picking a big variety of heroes. We've seen some Mushi Carrier Shaker, we've seen some more standard like Mushi Luna, we've seen the KYXY Naga Siren. This is a team with plenty up their arsenal, so by no means an easy team to beat. But hey, that's playoff times. You've got to get to the playoffs. Malaysia have already, well, notched their spot in the playoffs. We're looking to find the other three teams to join them. MVP Phoenix, a good candidate at 5-2. CSW 5-1. Invasion at 5-3. The team here, Execration, not up to the best start. They're 2-3 though, but it's one of those other teams mentioned like Invasion who are 5-3, who are currently 4th place, can easily be caught because you've only got 3 losses. If you start winning some games, putting together a good spree of wins, and suddenly you find yourself in the top 4. So you kind of have to look at how many losses you have as opposed to how many wins you have as to whether or not you still have a chance for the playoffs. And we'll see exactly what's going to be coming into play here as, well, we've got ourselves a best of 1 game, our only game for today, in fact, as it will be just the one SEA match, and I'm back to sleep, and I'll be doing some more work tomorrow, but just 1 game for the Summit 2 by G2A.com SEA, as, we're going to find out who's going to come out on top of this one. So MVP Phoenix playing on the Radiant side. March is going to be like the biggest Dota 2 drafting hipster. Like this guy in the lobby, he wins the coin toss. You ask him, well, for one thing, he wins the coin toss. Almost, I would say 95% of Dota 2 drafters at the moment will ask for first pick when they win the coin toss. Probably even more. Like I would say, yeah, 95% is probably about right. March, he says I want Radiant. Which, okay, there's some teams who prefer Radiant. As far as Radiant versus Dire goes, it's probably a bit of a more even spread. It's, I would say, slightly more teams prefer Radiant than Dire. Maybe about 2/3 prefer Radiant and 1/3 prefer Dire, depending what scene it is. Some of the Eastern scene much more prioritize the Dire side, and there's a few there's a few specific teams who like the Dire. But the other thing March does, when his opponents have won once his opponents won the coin toss and chose side, he got to choose pick, and he chose second pick. This is going to be the only drafter, like I say 95% choose first pick when they win the coin toss. This guy is the 1% of drafters that will choose second pick. So a bit of a Dota hipster in that sense. But it's interesting to see what he comes up with. And I wonder, it's one of those things I just want to like sit down with him and say, like kind of pick his brain and figure out what's his reasoning for doing that. Because almost every other team is kind of saying, look, we want first pick, it gives us an advantage. There are, I mean, some strategical implications with going with the second pick. You get the 2 picks to start things off. Like you can see your opponent pick Death Prop and say, okay, to beat Death Prop we want X and Y, and pick those 2 heroes. But not to say the MVP have definitely drafted 2 heroes to kind of Death Prophet. It's been a pretty standard opening, I would say, with these 2 picks. The other thing where I feel first pick's really good is when you get to the end of the draft, because both teams have 4 picks. Let's say there's 1 pick left for each team, and you really want to know what your opponent's last pick is before you get it. Well, whoever had first pick also has last pick, so you have that extra bit of information coming into your very final pick, and you can pick a huge surprise pick as you get to that last pick, something that your opponents maybe aren't ready to counter or didn't exactly see coming. So we'll see exactly what's going to be coming MVP Phoenix's way, as it is Execration with first pick. But yeah, as said, we're not going to quite figure out why March's reasoning is for that. But MVP Phoenix have been playing really well. They seem to have done a bit of role swapping amidst their team. We've got QO now playing more of the kind of snowballing carry role as opposed to the snowballing mid role. We've got a very, very strong offlaner in Forev. He's been really impressive. We saw his Nyx Assassin against Medusa the other day with Lakel's on that Medusa, and he kind of got trounced a bit by that mana burn, and he's just been playing fantastic in the offlane all in all. So it looks like he's likely to be on the Legion Commander as an offlaner, although we do sometimes see the safe lane Legion Commander. Something kind of tells me it's not really a QO hero. Just from what I've seen of him and the kind of heroes he likes to play, definitely wants something a bit more high impact that doesn't rely on his team to kill as much. The Legion Skyreth combo, though, very deadly. You put someone in the duel, you lock them in place, and you put down that Mystic Flare on top of them. So this is kind of what I look towards as far as being MVP's bread and butter ganking combo. And for Legion to do that, you don't need too many items. You can get away with just having your bare basics, your Blink, your Blade Mail later on. You don't need too much more on top of that. So, to an Execration plan. They pick a Witch Doctor, which in some ways, if it's not Witch Doctor being dueled and you're nearby, you plop down that Death Ward and you can try look to turn that duel around on the Legion Commander using the Death Ward, throw out some casts for some stuns, and definitely lockdown onto the Legion Commander. Well, yeah, lockdown onto the Legion Commander will help, although a lot of the damage in the duel is going to be coming from this Skyreth fella, so I'll have to see if they get anything to actually maybe counteract that. Not much really does, apart from something like a Vengeful Spirit swap, a Shadow Demon disruption, something like defensive that will basically remove them from their place locked in that duel. Maybe an OD Astral Imprisonment, but you're not really going to want to pick an OD when you've already got the Death Prophet. And there's the QO Slark. The last 2 or 3 games MVP's been playing, I've seen QO in the Slark, and he plays a beastly one at that. So look out for him in that safe lane farming Slark. We'll get his fast Midas usually, go for the Blink Dagger, and then just start moving around the map, controlling the tempo, creating space for his team, and just all in all wreaking havoc. But if Execration have been watching these last couple MVP Phoenix games, they won't be too surprised by that, and MVP Phoenix have got themselves a really strong team fight. Tide, Death Prophet, very reliant on these long cooldown ultimates, but if they can fight around the Ravage, fight around the Exorcism, then suddenly you've got yourselves, well, some pretty straightforward one-team fights. They've got to make sure they kill the key heroes in that Tide Ravage, I feel. I'm looking at the Slark there, although with that said, they bring to the table some even more additional team fights, so maybe it's not going to be all about the Ravage. When you've got something like a Sand King, you can somewhat fight without Ravage. If you're hitting 2-3 hero Burrow Strikes, locking down multiple targets, and definitely the extra lockdown is going to help a lot against this Slark. Something where just having the Ravage and like Cask isn't really reliable lockdown may not be good enough. You even got the Silence from the Death Prophet, so not a bad lineup for dealing with Slark here. He's going to be pretty careful about entering these fights and how he plays it. It's almost always going to have to be Legion Commander leading the way, and when Legion Commander is likely to be an offlane hero, you're not going to be seeing as much farm prioritized on this hero, so MVP Phoenix need some kind of, I would say, team fight centric support. I mean, the Sand King would have been great for them. The Earthshaker's your backup. Well, I don't know about backup, but he's the other good option as far as team fighting supports go that give you some good AoE lockdown. And that's where Execration say we're banning that one out. So as far as other supports go, I'm wondering what they go towards. Maybe they go a bit kind of greedier, but still team fight centric with like an Enigma in the jungle. You get something like an Enigma, and you have got that team fight presence of Black Hole. Right now, not much to go through, nothing to go through a BKB Black Hole as well, so you can get that guaranteed late game Black Hole if you get the farm up for the BKB. And does give you a bit more greedy, punishable lanes, but Execration have not got the strongest lanes. Sand King can kind of do some roaming, but generally you want to see Sand King just farming away in the jungle, getting that Blink Dagger up at kind of a somewhat timely fashion. So we'll see exactly what the plan's going to be with this last pick. I don't know if Enigma's really the best choice. I think laning support, so you can be a bit more aggressive with a Slark in the mid game may be better, although Enigma does give you a good mech buyer. I'm trying to think what other heroes we can see coming out as far as supports go. You're up against some big AoE team fights here, and it's going to be a Rubik. Okay, you're up against big ultimates. What better than a Rubik? There was a really cool clip I saw yesterday with a Rubik with a stolen Exorcism getting a Rampage. I think it was the Dota 2 Portal guys who put that one up, and it was one of those crazy things to watch. You could tell it was done in some like 3K MMR game, but it's still just one of those things like it's really cool to see 5 really fun tanky heroes chasing a Rubik, a support Rubik at that with Exorcism on, and Rubik just kills all 5 of them by eluding them, and just some well-timed, ends with like a telekinesis on a bristleback when Rubik's on like 10 HP to get the 5th kill. So it's definitely a lot of good juicy spells to be stolen this game if you're a Rubik. I mean, even looking outside the Exorcism and Ravage ultimates, There's Sand Burrow Strike, which is one of my favorite spells when I'm playing Rubik to go up against. As far as non-ultimate spells go, I think Burrow Strike and then Weaver Shikuchi are almost two of the best. And it's going to be a last pick Lycan. This is something I don't know if MVP Phoenix saw coming. And speaking about like the 5-man group up, Lycan does add a lot because he's going to be giving Hal as well as like a Vladzor to his team, and that just makes him a whole lot scarier. For Kua to get kills into this is going to be even more difficult, especially if you look towards Ue maybe going for a mech this game, which I think could be what he leans towards after the Blink Dagger at least. We haven't seen Tide going for mech as much, just because of how good the 4-staff refresher build seems to be after getting the Blink Arcanes, but with no one really to buy the mech on this team, I think getting a mech and then being able to group up could be a really strong way of playing this draft if they so choose to do so. So we'll get our... there we go. Computer's thinking. It's deciding if it wants to get rid of the drafting overlay or not. It's actually giving that little twirling spiral that says it actually is thinking. But we're going to get ourselves in the draft. It's a 1 game for today between MVP Phoenix of Korea and Team Execration, who were actually at Star Ladder Land Finals just not long ago. They did all right there. They didn't finish too highly, but they actually put up some really good chunks. A lot of people just counted them out as being from a weaker region in Southeast Asia, but they put up some really good matches. Actually won a game as well against, what was it, Virtus Pro, I want to say? I think they took a game, I think it was Virtus Pro they took a game off of. It was in that Group B. They took a game off of, yeah, Virtus Pro, I believe. Was Virtus Pro? Oh man, I've been casting so much Dota, my mind's gone mush. But yeah, they definitely won a game there. And really, just in their other games, they came really. I don't know. I don't want to say they came close to being Secret. Their game against Secret was a really strong showing from them. Like they did not get wiped apart by Team Secret, which is what most people expected. So I would say people have been impressed by Execration. Problem is, since Star Ladder Season 10 Land Finals, they've had a roster change. They're now playing without Bimbo, who's left the team either, I believe for personal reasons, or maybe to join another team. Rumors of maybe joining Mineski, but. We'll introduce our two teams on the Radiant side. It's going to be MVP Phoenix with Forev. Boots first going to the offlane on the Legion Commander. We've seen some great plays coming from him as of late in that offlane. Heen going to be on the solo mid Razor. We've got Reason playing the support Rubik. One day we'll get to see Reason's Jakiro again. I miss him playing that Jakiro. We've got March on the Skywrath Mage, who's been playing almost exclusively support. And QO, haven't seen him on anything except the Slark. It's going to be Slark once more for the MVP Phoenix side. For the Dire side, we have got the Filipino squad of Execration. No longer IAP Execration. Apparently they're just Execration now. We are going to have Ue playing the offlane Tidehunter. Boots first for him as well, as offlaners like to do nowadays. He's going to get zoned out pretty heavily by March on the Skywrath Mage. He's just going to walk up, start trading right clicks. Problem is March is Boots, so he's actually pretty good at kiting, although he does get hit by the Anchor Smash, so time to back off. Although, as I say that, he just turns around and throws a few more. Only the one Clarity build. To get these Tangos, you kind of needed that Clarity. Mid lane's going to be Primo, who's the stand-in for Bimbo, who's going to be handling that Death Prophet. And then towards the top lane, we've got Fox on the Sand King playing a kind of farming support. We've got Chemo on the main support playing the Witch Doctor. And it's going to be Lengpoko, the second stand-in on the Lycan. So a bit of a... Fox not actually play... Wait, sorry. Fox is on support now. Fox is normally the carry. So IAP... Well, just Execration have actually done some adjustments of their own. Normally, as we saw at Star Ladder, Fox was on that carry role, but it looks like he's switched over to support. Emma Stone or RR is not actually playing this match, and, well, they've got a stand-in playing their carry role, possibly looking at some additional roster shuffles, so it's good and bad. If you're Execration, obviously it means the state of your roster is such that you're bringing in these stand-in players and you're kind of looking to make changes within your team, but it's also the fact you're making changes could be for the better. We could see these teams come back stronger and better than ever. They're obviously confident that they maybe want to do some role switching with putting Fox on support. He definitely wasn't, I don't want to say it was the weak link at Star Ladder, but he wasn't like the most convincing with his play on carry there. Oh, he was standing on top of the rune. Those two heroes were just high-fiving each other. Well, in the case of Legion, he was like, let's be friends. I won't even attack you. Witch Doctor's like, nope, I'm throwing these little stunning casts at you. I'm going to right-click you. And Legion's like, dude, let's be friends. I'm taking this bounty rune. I'll go my way. You go your way. And then we can, well, see each other once again back in the lane. And it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do in this top lane. Forev is looking pretty healthy here. Has hit level 2, so has the nuke, overwhelming odds, as well as press the attack to make things slightly easier for him in this top lane, having that extra bit of heal coming into play. So bottom lane, Always similar story. He's at level 2, although Mark's completely mana depleted. We'll be looking to pop this Clarity fairly soon. And that's worth having just the one Clarion Scarith Mage. If you're going really heavy, looking to zone people out here, you can't always quite get as much done as you'd like to. And Scarith Mage is not even level 2 yet, so he's got his work cut out as far as catching up on levels. But that's something where we've seen these main supports focus early game, mostly on zoning people out, and then they kind of transition into this stage where they swap with the other support, which is farming more initially. So right now, Reason's one getting the farm, and on the dire side, it's going to be Fox on the Sancting, getting the farm himself. How are we doing mid lane? Razor, 15 CS, the 11 of Primo. So Razor actually coming out on top here. Normally see this matchup be pretty even on CS. If anything, I would say maybe Death Prophet's like a tiny margin ahead just by a smidge, but either way, I think it's a pretty even matchup, although Death Prophet is not done as well as I'd normally see some Death Prophets do. But hey, sometimes you don't have your best games, as we will see. Get another die on the Siege Creep. Primo going to be going for a 4-minute rune, perhaps. Meanwhile, March is like, dude, Tide, you're not stacking this, you're not getting the 4-minute rune. This is really nice play. Heads up coming in from March. Meanwhile, mid lane, Death Prophet taking a lot of damage stolen as a result. Has the movement speed advantage, luckily, over the Razor, and this just guarantees the top rune. Death Prophet wanted to go for that 4-minute rune. Doesn't get a chance to do so. That means Razor gets a double damage rune. March at bottom gets the bounty rune. So both runes going the way of MVP Phoenix. Great map control to guarantee that, and puts Execration in a bit of a tough spot. Primo's going to be forced to bottle Crow, which can be kind of slow and just slows down his farm because he only has mana for the single Crypt Swarm now, so he's just going to be back to casual last hitting and hoping for the best, but you can do okay. Okay with now until the double damage rune gets popped, which I think for Heen you just pop right away, but he's each to his own. Nice Chemo at top. He's still doing a good job zoning out this Legion. Legion just still sitting on level 2. Tide, it looks like, has abandoned ship on this bottom lane, decided he's not getting much out of there, and now with a level 5 Slack, he's likely to get picked off. Skyreth, just level 2, has the slow as well as nuke, so not to mention he's managed to regen most of his mana March on the Skyreth Mage, so as a result, Tide says, I'm out of here, gonna maybe just do a bit of jungling, but as far as jungling goes, he's only level 2, so he needs more points in the Kraken Shell, more points in the Ancient Smash before he can do any of these big, serious camps. Even wants to go for these Ancients, I imagine, fairly soon, but he needs to start stacking those up to, as far as catching up from the Ancients is concerned. But no, for now, it's just a standard pull. Uwe deciding it is really dire straits for him if this is what you would have to resort to. Well, over in the mid lane, Heen, level 6 now. We're not seeing the ultimate picked up. Pretty standard Razor build. Very rarely do you get that ultimate level 6, unless you find something like a haste rune, where you can guarantee to get like a kill or two off of your ultimate. It's generally better just to go for the extra point in Plasma Field. This 3-2-1 build by level 6 is really strong. You get the 7th point of your nuke at level 7, and maybe your ultimate by around level 8. 6 minutes coming up, and these clashes around these runes is becoming oh so popular. Even the Wolves coming into play. Forov gets stunned up to start things off. You're going to pop the heal, and here comes the Razor to help out. A lot of damage with overwhelming odds. He gets first blood. Going to be 2 kills going the way of MVP Phoenix, and Primo, luckily for him, found a haste rune, because that gets him the hell out of there. That overwhelming odds combined with the Razor Plasma Field doing massive damage there. That was a level 3 Plasma Field. Now hits level 7 on the Razor. Has it maxed out, and you've got to really respect the long-range nuke damage. That's the thing. You have numbers there for your Execration, but they can nuke you from so far away, but by the time like you even get close enough to throw spells at them, you're already low on HP, or in the case of the Sand King, who's already dead. Oh dear. Heen off to a great start now. He's up to 1,500 gold. Forov in the offlane's picked up his Tranquil Boots. Also a Soul Ring coming out soon. It's on the Courier. Kyo, he loves this Midas build. He's pretty much got it now as well. Just needs one more last hit, and the Midas recipe is out on the Courier, so just the Gloves of Haste, which you can buy from the side shop, and then he's good to go. This is 7 minutes, not the best timing. Did go for the Boots Magic Stick, but this is more than fine as far as Q is concerned. You can get faster Midases, but he's not going to be too worried about the pace of this game and the timing of his Midas. Vlad's picked up now for your Lycan, so he's kind of starting to get online himself. Level 7, so has those max Lycan wolves, and That's going to help him out as far as being able to just help out his team without even being there. He sent those wolves to the rune. It didn't actually work out for him. If anything, it backfired. The fact the wolves were there meant the overwhelming odds did more damage to heroes. But I mean, that was just a bit of unfortunate. I don't know about luck, but just something that was maybe overlooked. But in general, being able to send these wolves around the map to help out with the max level wolves having decent movement speed damage, and you can always buff up that damage using the Howl as well. But now he's going to look to use them to push down this tower. Overwhelming odds is one of the best counter-pushing spells, though. Bottom rune. There's a contest over this one, and Uwe could be in some trouble here. Gets lifted up, pulled back, and March will get him with one more Arcane Bolt, I believe. Here comes the Razor. He says, I want this kill. Well, Scarith gets the last hit. That was an Arcane Bolt. Meanwhile, top lane, there's going to be initiation. Four of has been dived well behind his tower, but no backup available as they were busy off in that bottom river. And that means a T1 tower as well, possibly going to... The damage is going to kind of cease to exist in a second with the Exorcism. Not to mention, the new Glyph changes means Glyph is already back up for the Radiant team after losing a T1 tower. It does refresh, and they'll Glyph while the Exorcism is on. That's going to expire, and well, all they've got left is Vlad's and some Lycan walls, which probably won't lead to much of a successful push. With 4 of respawning, he just TPs in, throws down the overwhelming odds, and well, that ends the push. But either way, it's still a T1 tower. Kyo is trying to do some damage at bottom, but he's a little fish man. Kyo, well, pops his Midas, continues to farm. He's not really looking to actually get this tower. Just put some pressure on it and force rotations. He wants Execration to keep heroes down here. Unlike something like an Anti-Mage or a Medusa, where if you have an empty lane, great, you want to say that way. As a Slark, you're thinking, I wouldn't mind some heroes down here. It's possible kills. With the help of the Rubik, you're maybe finding a quick kill with a Telekinesis into a Pounce. Kyo is getting aggressive going around the side. He has got Shadow Dance, and he wants Primo. This is why he wants heroes showing up at this bottom lane. He starts with a Dark Pack, gets the Pounce, and Primo could be in some trouble. He's got no TP, it's on cooldown. Reason will lift him up, has a Fade Bolt as well, and Fade Bolt will kill Secure, as Kyo probably says, dude, what's up with that? That's my kill. And they care more about the kills right now than towers, I tell you that. For MVP Phoenix, killing a Death Prophet is probably more important than getting damaged under this tier 1. Towers do not give you as much money as they used to, and just the map control you get from a tier 1 bottom tower is pretty negligible. Mid lane, Heen, ooh. Up in the ante as Fox will get zoned out of there. He's level 5. 2.1k gold, and oh, they've gone in bottom lane once more. It's Kyo getting aggressive, and with the help of the Skyreth Mage, who is quite low, he has to be a little bit careful as the TP comes in. That's your Death Prophet, getting smarter low, but Kyo's just going to look to turn around. Says, I can go in for this one. Has got the Shadow Dance, which he'll pop. The Cask is bouncing. Reason going to be the casualty of war, it looks like, as Kyo suddenly realizes he's kind of screwed over his buddy there. He's going to show up. He's got a regen rune, hiding around the corners. Kyo tries to bait a little bit. We're a bit low on HP, as I think he's going to maybe reconsider this. And the TP top from Heen, recognizing the threat of the Lycan push. Well, somewhat, at least slow down this Lycan as far as not giving him too many towers. We'll be going for the Necro 3 build. Seems like a pretty appropriate item for this game. You've got the Death Prophet who can assist with the actual carry duties, so I don't think you have to go the pure carry Lycan, but we'll have to make sure that you actually push down a lot of towers. Take Roshan, take all these tier 2s ASAP if you're going for this Necro build. Otherwise it just doesn't really pay for itself. For Execration, pretty... As far as... They're all about the mid-game with their big team fight, so it's not too bad the position they're in. And they're going to start looking to take some towers to help get them to that mid-game. Get their Blink Daggers up on the Tide. Sand King has got his as well. They're going to lift up Primo in the mid lane. The Jewel is there available. They need some extra burst damage with the Stolen X's, and that's where it's coming from. But the cast bouncing back and forth. 4 and Reason in all sorts of trouble. 4 goes down. Doesn't lose the Jewel, luckily, although it would have just been a death problem. Kimo in the front lane's Death Ward. Gets one. Looking for 2. March there. The tower hits. Will finish off the Witch Doctor, but it's a double, triple kill for Kimo. What a play coming in from the Execration captain and hard support, getting a triple kill with that Death Ward. That was impressive stuff. That cast bouncing between the 2 heroes in the Jewel just saved the life of that Death Prophet. That was big stuff coming in from Kimo. Really nicely played there, and that's a big turnaround as well. They're still down to kill, but kills isn't really matters. They're behind on farm, which is a bit more of a concern for them, but that's going to start inching things back in their favor, especially if they can get Roshan. Now, Lycan's gone straight in the pit. He's going to pop the Shapeshift and give himself that slightly quicker Roshan killing potential. He even has the Necrobook 1-up just for the tanking and little bit of damage here. Seems March nearby-ish. Maybe knows, but you're not going in to stop this on your own. Lonesome self. Slark could potentially, but the fact he's not headed there makes me think he doesn't maybe actually know what's going on mid lane. Meanwhile, Fox has gone in. Epicenter blink. They blow the ultimate, but it's well used to kill off a core hero of MVP Phoenix. The 4-Ev Legion Commander going to go down, and Execration get Aegis as well on the Lycan now. Must have be just about hitting his Necrobook 2 as well. We're coming out to the secret shop, and I wonder what Execration have planned now. Probably going to wait these ultimates. Tied a bit low on HP and mana. Could actually pop the magic stick, so drop your arcane boots, get that efficiency, and he can actually still fight. But right now he wants to kill off some ancients, and gotta use those arcane boots, man. Bottom lane. What's Rubik's Storm? He's got lots of summon wolves. This is a pretty nice steal. Talked about some of the other big steals like the Burrow Strike and all that, but summon wolves, you can use these. These are invisible scouts, not to mention the damage they can bring to the table at the same time. In at top, what's he actually gone for? He's gone for drums here. So this is kind of more, I guess, on the lines of what like Arteezy likes to do on the Razor. Go for these more stats. Doesn't go for the mech so much. Goes for this Treads Drums BKB build. Doesn't even prioritize the Ag Scepter all too often, but he is somewhat flexible. Like we've seen games where he'll go for a Shiver's Guard, go for an Assault Cuirass. Really depends on the opponent's lineup, and Razor one of those good heroes who can be very flexible with your build, depending on what your opponents have drafted. But the BKB against the Tide Ravage, the Sand King, even getting like some of the Death Prophet damage is probably the right way to go here. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they've actually got a kill to start things off here. They want to bring down this tier 1 tower, and with a kill on the Scarith Mage, not the biggest of kills here, but does open up this tier 1 tower for business, as with the Exorcism online, it looks like they want to try and bring this down. Lycan Wolves nearby, they're going to be resummoned, it looks like, as Lycan Wolves actually going on Reason. These are Reason's Wolves, and he's being chased away by some actual scarier looking Lycan Wolves. Razor can get a tier 1 tower at top, so this is actually a bit of a trade, and when I say trade, not a very good one for Execration, as they're not even getting the tier 1 tower. TP's come in, Ian's leading the front lines, and he's got 1500 HP with this Ogre Club, making his way towards his BKB. You do not want to fight this tanky Razor. As Cured leading the charge as well. They looks like they want to get Uwe here. He's not going to hit the pounce, as Sand King goes back in with a Burrow Strike. The Static Link stealing damage, but they need something AoE to actually get this kill. No Skyrath ultimate, another Dark Pack going to come through. Fox is going to get out of here soon, but won't get a chance to do so. Ravage under the tower on him, but that was just used defensively, and that is not a good Ravage. Sand King going to buy back TP, and he has got the Blink Dagger, remember, so look out for that Blink. Burrow Strike, is he going to go for Heen? Looks like he decides against it. The Lycan now ulti-form. Will Burrow Strike Epicenter wants Heen. Gush going to come through. Uwe very low. Will go down to a Dark Pack. Pounce, and the trade is going to come on Heen, but they've lost a lot of heroes. MVP are going to be careful. They don't want to lose Q as well. Pounce possibly going to go to the low ground. Gets thrown up in the air, immediately Dark Packs it off, and he misses the pounce to the low ground. This is going to be the death of QO. 4 dead on the MVP side. Only the Legion Commander left standing, and he's, well, going to look to throw down an overwhelming odds. Maybe if he can get a cheeky little kill there, but that's not the case, as he's got 2k gold, looking towards that Blink Dagger. And see about a 1,000 gold swing. Not as convincing as it otherwise would have been with a 4-for-2 trade because of the Sand King buyback. Also a really bad Ravage from Uwe. He's not been playing his best Dota. He played well at Starlighter, but since then, in some of these online matches in the Summit too, he's been struggling. Well, back to reset as far as Execration are concerned. They've got these big ultimates that they want to fight around. No exorcism, no Ravage. With that said, they want to fight around the Ravage, but they also need to be actually landing these Ravages. His life will get a lot easier with a Blink Dagger. Until you get that Blink, sometimes you Shiva a Ravage here or there, so we'll see how things go out for Uwe once he gets that Blink, which it looks like he should be able to farm from this camp here. Same time, the offlaner for MVP Phoenix gets a Blink of his own. 4-Ev will have that flying out, so Blink Jewels, probably not as scary as a Blink Ravage, but still something where the Legion just wants to start getting Jewel damage. He's currently got 0 bonus damage. Every 1 Jewel gets you that extra little 10 at level 1, and you want to start building that up and looking to accrue it in case you get to that late game scenario, but as of right now, we're just not really seeing it. MVP Phoenix. I think that the next time they're ready to fight and play around is going to be the BKB on Razor. Then you don't have to worry about the Tide Ravage, the Sand King burst damage as much. You still have to find a way to bring down this Death Prophet. That's going to be the trick. Because that Exorcism will win a team fight for Execration if not dealt with. You either need to kite it around so it doesn't do too much damage, or you need to burst down the Death Prophet, which you have an okay lineup for. Skyrath, obviously fantastic. Slack, not bad, and I think it's going to come from the Duel plus Skyrath Ultimate, and then whoever else is around can throw some additional damage on top of that one. So MVP Phoenix looking to smoke, find whatever they can here around this mid lane, but Execration, as said, they want to group as 5, and that's exactly what they're going to do at this bottom lane. MVP are going to be soon privy to that information, as they're actually going for a bit of a counter push in this mid. Have not got as good a pushing lineup. Well, of course they don't. They haven't got Exorcism. Unless Rubik's stolen it, but that's not the case. And see some chip damage being dealt to this T2. Got to be careful. Blink initiation are available. Tide on the side has got Ravage, and it looks like MVP will see a few heroes missing from bottom and decide, okay, push is maybe about to coming to an end. Q going straight for that Skadi on his Slark, and getting pretty damn close to it as well at this point. It looks like Aegis will have expired, so they didn't really get too much use out of the Aegis. The Roshan just turning itself into some easy kind of golden. Just also forces MVP to play a lot more defensive when you get. So MVP, Execration managed to defend mid-tier 2 with ease, and then they immediately swing back towards the bottom lane where they're going to find Heen, and Burrow Strike's there. Heen has not got his BKB. Immediate cancel coming into Forev's Blink Dagger, and well, Uwe could be in some trouble. Kua gets silence up. He does Dark Pact, but it took him a long time. The AoE damage is going to be enough. Dies to an Anchor Smash, it looks like. The chase is still on as Execration want more, and it looks like the Lycan going to be able to just chomp on the Skywrath Mage, and that's 3, make it 4 dead, and they're actually looking to go high ground potentially, although they still got a tier 2 tower to deal with. Execration getting a bit ahead of yourselves here. Forev taking big damage to these Lycan Wolves and Necrobooks, but they're not going to be enough to bring them down. Let's go high ground. Oh wait, tier 2 tower, we got to still deal with that. Got to learn to crawl before you can walk. And Execration win a big team fight there in the enemy base, more or less, and that's just the... these Blink initiations and any team fight, like that's just, MVP have got to somehow avoid team fights, but they haven't got the best split pushing lineup. It's where I really worry about them the more this game, from here on out in this game. Like, you're going to be losing team fights when Execration have these big ultimates. And you can't really split push. The Slark can to some extent, but he's still going to be careful. A Blink Burrow Strike can catch him before he Dark Packs, and you follow it up with a Silence from a Death Prophet, cast Death Ward. And we've seen these Death Wards do a lot of damage and high impact in these fights. So for the Filipino squad, they're looking to maybe knock MVP Phoenix out of that 3rd place in the Summit 2 by G2A.com SCA Division. As where things stand right now, Team Malaysia undefeated in 1st place. CSW, the Australian team, or at least predominantly Australian team, is in 2nd, and MVP Phoenix, I believe, 5-2 or... I think 5-2 are in 3rd. Invasion from Malaysia are 4th place with a 5-3 record. And a win here for IAP Execration. They've currently got a pretty average record. I think they're 2-3. This will even up their record, make them 3-3, and possibly put them back in the race. We are going to see a duel coming out. Chemo's the target. That's the first, I believe, duel victory of the game. Coming in at 20 minutes in. That is just way too late. Primo Invis looks like may have been spotted. Is gem up or something? Did get hit by a science. Okay, he must have just popped the invis after popped the invis after he got spotted, and still got hit by some of those spells as MVP will fall back. And mentioned the Razor BKB is picked up now, so this means Razor can at least stay alive. But even with Razor staying alive, if everyone else is being hit by the Ravage, the Sand King Burrow Strike Epicenters, like, there's only so much damage a Razor can do. Maybe you kill 1 or 2 of the squishy heroes, but still have to kind of wonder where else is damage coming from. Legion is just purely going to be about the lockdown that Jewel provides in the setup. There's no real damage there. And Slark, it's going to be him. He's going to have enough money for a Skadi soon, but that's his only item, and there's so much to deal with this Slark. There's Burrow Strikes, Anchor Smashes, all these spells that go through his Shadow Dance as well. You can throw Crypts on one, or you can even silence him through it. He's going to be in for a rough time, I feel, in these teamfights, Slark. He's got to go for a BKB after this Skadi, I want to say. I think getting the Skadi first is alright. You kind of just tank up with the raw stats and you get a bit more killing potential with it. But I think BKB has got to come next. We see him skip the Blink Dagger as well this game. I think deciding that he couldn't really fight into all these stuns earlier on, so he didn't want to go for the Blink. And they're going to smoke up. Skadi completed, looking for maybe another duel pick-off. Legion Commander, to win this game, they're going to have to drag it out and get Legion Commander into kind of a carry status as well. Because right now he's looking just like an initiator. He's playing that kind of Batrider like, okay, you pick one off, except Batrider offers a lot more as far as some added additional control from the Flame Break. I guess they both can push out lanes with Firefly, but Batrider has just better initiations because you can Firefly over trees to initiate and just be a lot more pesky in general. So we'll see what MVP can find, but once again, being completely eluded when they go for this 5-man smoke gank. Execration has smoked up themselves, and just sitting in the trees is Fox and Primo. Fox with a Blink Dagger ready. Chemo may be the one who gets revealed here. It looks like they're going to ping the Roshan pit. They've seen MVP Phoenix maybe somewhat nearby, and they're also worried about MVP Phoenix maybe going into that Roshan. Uh-oh, they're going to see this plasma field. Here's your Blink. Ravage gets him before the BKB. The Death Ward is there as well, and that's going to go through Heen's BKB if he tries to fight into this. Epicenter going to come through, does not hit Heen, and Heen's BKB is going to be, well, made irrelevant. You've got a Lycan chomping on him. You've got a Death Prophet X's, and the physical damage is more than enough, and now Mart's going to be chased down as well. It looks like they caught Rubik as well off to the side, down to the south. That was the Death Prophet Xism, so it's a 4-for-0 trade. And an easy Roshan to be claimed by Execration. Their lineup is just outclassing MVP Phoenix right now. We're only 23 minutes in, and already things looking really bad for MVP Phoenix. I don't think they've got any kind of comeback potential with their lineup. I think it was too much built around snowballing with the Slark, and Slark maybe spent a bit too long farming. Going for the Midas this game, maybe not the best bet. I think some of the other games Midas was fine, but when you've got a lineup that isn't going to win late game or doesn't have any sort of team fight, you had to maybe go for the a Treads Blink Rush and then just start finding kills wherever you could. Problem is, you go Midas and you get the Blink afterwards. By the time you get that Blink, Execration have their Blinks as well. They're ready to counter-initiate. They're ready to just burst down the Slark whenever he kind of shows himself if it's in a team fight scenario. And your Starlighter Season 10 SEA representatives showing that despite some roster changes post-Starlighter, they're still a formidable opponent here. Definitely think they've got themselves a really strong, comfortable draft. They ran a lot of the Death Prophet with Jay in the mid lane at Starlighter and before, and something which seems to just fit their playstyle nicely. Going for this heavy team fight. Uwe, despite not having the best game earlier on with some of his Ravage, has really picked it up these last few team fights. 2 great Ravages in a row, and he's building straight towards that Refresher. So forget the mech. He's gone Refresher. Primo's going to be going for the Bloodstone, and he's almost got it. I think he has got it, yeah. Bloodstone, Soul Ring, coming out on the Courier, and next point of business for Execration is these outer towers. Get these tier 2s, which should be pretty straightforward. Don't even think they should need to use exorcisms for it, and that's not up for 30 seconds. So they can get this tier 2 and then even try and maybe breach high ground. Necro 3, Exorcism, like with the BKB, they've got everything they really need. And they definitely can get stronger. That's the thing that's really scary for me for MVP Phoenix as far as the position they're in, is that Execration have everything they need to try and breach the high ground now, but even if they don't try, they can sit back and farm, and they still get scary late game. You put an AC, Heart of Tarask on your Lycan. You put a Refresher on your Tide. You put another, BKB Refresher on your Death Prophet. These heroes get a whole lot bigger and beefier. You put an Ag Scepter on your Witch Doctor. All these heroes can get a lot stronger, but regardless, they're ready to go high ground now. So whether they fight now or in 5-10 minutes time, Execration are just going to look so much stronger than MVP Phoenix. And MVP Phoenix, well, fighting into this is going to be tricky. They maybe see the Sand King off to the side. Now, if they go in, he's going to be ready with a Blink, Epicenter, or maybe even just the Burrow Strike to counter-initiate. And it looks like from the backline, Skewer's going to need to be silenced. No Dark Pact available. It's a Ravage just for Cure, and it's well worth it, perhaps, although they lose the Lycan, but that's an Aegis. No buyback available. Epicenter comes through as well. Legion Commander going to be the casualty there. Lycan respawns now with the Aegis, looking for the Rubik here, and Rubik gets brought down by a Crypt Swarm. 4 dead on the Radiant side. They're going to lose Raxus off of this, and that's just an Aegis that they claim. They used everything on the Lycan while the Tide Ravage, well, it was a solo Ravage under the Slark. With Slark dead, MVP Phoenix have no way to win a team fight. And I think they realized Slark had no buyback. The only way MVP can take that fight is if they had the buyback on the Slark, because then Slark can kind of bait out that Ravage, buyback, and then take a fight with Ravage on cooldown. Even then, it's risky, because I think even with Ravage on cooldown, you've got Epicenter, you've got Exorcism. Execration still have a big edge. But first Rax of the game, 26 minutes in, and MVP Phoenix, the 3rd place team in the standings, looking to be in dire straits right now. Full retreat right now as Execration not ready to fight again. You can see here all 5 ultimates on cooldown. No need to risk it for the biscuit right now as MVP Phoenix are much more... Their lineup's constantly online. The problem is it's only really able to beat Execrations when we're in this position where all 5 of their ultimates are on cooldown. Even when their lineup's online with all their ultimates and all their items ready to go, as long as Execration have like a Ravage or an Exorcism, well, guess what? You can't really fight. And Lycan now, what's he actually going to be buying? That's the thing. You win a big fight like that, get Rax. Suddenly there's all this money and income coming into the dire side. The Salt Crest going to be up in 300, make it 200 gold for your Lycan. Fox has Blink 4 stuff. Tide Refresher, it still needs the recipe, but about 1,000 gold away from that. As they will smoke. I think they want to head towards bottom. Bottom is already very close to this Radiant base. And if they can find a pick-off on the way, well, then suddenly you're looking at, well, maybe an easy second lane of Raxus and possibly just game right there. But I think even without the Aegis, they're ready to go. They're flying up the Curie. This is going to be their assault career, so I'll have to see if they try and wait out for that one. Maybe just sit here smoked up. Nope, they're good to go. Exorcism online. Primo with 3k gold could maybe consider using this for some buyback this fight, as I think they wait the assault career. It seems silly not to. And MVP seems to be going for that like complexity smoke game, where you just try and flank him from behind. It's the Lycan they find though, and he's got BKB, needs to pop. It does do so. He's going to shapeshift as well, and in they go. He's going to maybe be the first target, and with BKB, he's statically taking a lot of damage. This Lycan, he's losing out on damage quickly. He's going to be, well, is he even going to be brought down? There's 0 damage on this Lycan. He with plus 260. The Lycan Wolves and Necrobooks will do it though. Oh dear, and now it's QO. Silence up, no Dark Pact available. 2 heroes dead, and it's the 2 main carries for the Radiant team. They're going to buy back the Razor as High Ground is breached. Exorcism only up for another 5 seconds, but that's going to be 5 seconds enough to bring down the tier 3 tower as Primo will now heal himself back up with the Exorcism, and they're going to get to work on these Raxes. Ravage coming in. Gets stolen perhaps. Here goes Rubik. Blink. Ravage. The counter Ravage coming in, but that's not going to be enough to get more than maybe a Sand King kill. He's going for the Sand King, but the Voodoo Restoration heals up the Sand King. 0 damage coming in from the Legion Commander, and it's all over. Beyond godlike for your Lycan. Execration have knocked themselves a much-needed win here in the Summit 2 SEA Division by G2A.com. Very, very dominant stuff coming in from the Filipino squad, and as said, much-needed victory against an MVP Phoenix team who've been playing really well, getting some important wins against Myth Trust, against Invasion, against some fairly strong opponents here in the SEA Division, and for Execration to come in and say, look, we've got some stand-ins, we're kind of reforming our roster, but hey, we can still win. We can still play Dota. It's great to see. So they picked themselves up a big win. Oh, March. He's done it. He's got the negative fantasy points. You know it's been a rough game, or your teammates have kind of left you up to hang and dry when you get negative fantasy points, because that's a rare sight, but I know Ben Merlini Wu is all about catching out those negative fantasy points. But guys, that does it for today's SEA action. I'm Gods from Beyond the Summit, and this has been the Summit 2 by G2A.com. One thing, guys, to note, we are doing a giveaway. If you guys are at home sitting there thinking, man, the Summit 1 was so much fun. I wish I could have been there to hang with the players, to hang with the BTS guys, except for that LD guy. He's a bit sketchy at times. I love LD. If you guys are sitting back and want a chance to win, we're doing a contest, which is to win a trip to the Summit 2. So with our partner, G2A.com, we're going to be looking to select a winner. So we're going to be reading through all your submissions. Basically, head on over to the website, www.g2a.com/trip to the Summit 2, and you have to like G2A as well as BTS, and then you can enter your reason why you deserve a trip. I've been allocated the job to go through all those submissions. I think, somewhat jokingly, I believe we're going to be dividing them up. I don't know. Maybe that's going to be how I spend a week, reading through tens of thousands of submissions. Actually, it's something kind of fun to do, something different. But head on over to the website, enter the contest, and good luck, guys. I hope to meet some cool people who actually win the contest. But it is going to be an all expenses paid. So we cover your flight, we cover your hotel, and we'll get you to the event, so you don't have to worry about that. What you have to worry about is just having a visa and a passport to get here if you're outside of the US. If you're in the US, well, easy crazy. So that does it, guys. I'm Gods from Beyond the Summit. As said, you can follow me on Twitter at BTSGods. We've got the Summit America action happening later today. I believe that's going to be covered by Merlini as well as Zayuri. Fingers crossed I'm right on that one. But that does it for me, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys again in tomorrow for SEA. See you guys.
You got spare game codes or any digital goods? There is a place you can sell them in less than 1 minute. Watch. Go to G2A.com. Click Start Selling. Fast Login. Go to My Account and click on Selling tab. Sell new item. Enter name, code, set a price. And done. G2A.com Digital Marketplace. Global selling simplified.
almost heaven. West Virginia, West Virginia, West Virginia.